So the reason I'm making this video is not because of any one particular article or news idea that's been thrown around. The reason I'm making this video is because of you. You see, we've been streaming for the past few games here in the Stanley Cup Finals, and that's been fun. I've been happy getting into the streams again, getting the mojo back, interacting with the chat. It's been great, but every 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish minutes, we have Red Wings fans, who I'm not surprised to see there, because of course we have a lot of Red Wings videos on this channel, who come into the chat and ask me the same question. Lego, the Wings have the 8th overall pick. Who do they take? Who do the Wings take at 8th overall? Do the Red Wings trade up for, I don't know, a higher pick from their 8th overall spot? Who does Steve Yzerman like at 8th overall? Lego, 8th overall, 8th overall, 8th overall. And you know, it's fine getting all of the fan interaction. I definitely do appreciate it. It says to me that there are an influx of Red Wings fans that digest, absorb, and get involved in the content, and that makes me feel very happy inside. But I think you can kind of understand where I'm coming from here, where I have to answer the same question every few minutes, and I usually go out there and say the same answers, and so for the sake of pleasing everybody's thoughts, I just decided, hey, let's make a video about the Red Wings, let's talk about the 8th overall pick, and talk about who I feel the Red Wings could take at that spot. Now, again, this is not an article, this is not any insider information or whatever, this is just me, LegoRocks99, getting put on the spot in my live streams. People are asking, hey Lego, who do you think the Wings should take at number 8? These are the 3 names that I usually end up saying. So, as we have already acknowledged, the Wings have the 8th overall pick this year. It's not a great pick, it's not a terrible pick, but it's a pick in a really good spot where I feel like the Wings are going to have at least somebody slip down, which will allow Steve Yzerman to come out there and do the hungry hippos thing, just absolutely pounce on that draft pick right there. But I do have 3 names that I wanted to talk about here in this video that could be pretty interesting Red Wings targets in my opinion. We've made Why I Want videos on every single one of these, so if you want to go ahead and check out any of the individual scouting reports, they are going to be linked in the description. But today I wanted to talk about Joakim Kamel playing out of JYP Jyväskylä in Finland, Matthew Savoie out of the Winnipeg Ice in the WHL, as well as Jonathan Lekkerimaki out of the Djurgårdens IF in the SHL. These 3 guys, if I had to place some money on it, would be amongst the 3 that I would consider the most for the Wings at number 8. Pretty much for a few reasons. Firstly, when it comes to who the Wings could have available to them, these guys kind of all fit the bill as players that could be in that range. When it comes to who the Wings could potentially target, I feel like these 3 guys each have skills that would be appealing to Yzerman. And when it comes to likelihood, these 3 guys all feel like, to me at least, guys that could be on the radar in the most realistic sense possible. Like, for Shane Wright, it's unrealistic to say that he's gonna go 8th overall, right? Same with Cooley, same with Slafkovsky. You could say if David Jiricek is available, the Red Wings might be able to take him, but the reason I'm reluctant from that idea is because if you talk about David Jiricek, he's a kind of player that I really feel like in his prime could be exactly like Moritz Seider, and I don't necessarily know if the Wings would want to go out there and take a guy who plays exactly like Seider when there's other options available that provide other elements to the team. So, starting out with Joakim Kamel, he is a consolidated ranked 7th overall on all of the draft boards. TSN and Bob McKenzie have him at the highest number at number 3. Craig Button also has him at number 3. You have some outlets like Elite Prospects who have him at number 10. But because of the variance in ranking, Kemell is a guy that I feel like could potentially be available at 8th overall. He is a 5'9", 176-pound right-handed scorer who scored himself a boatload of goals, 15 goals in 39 games played for JYP Jyväskylä this season in the Liga. Now, to be fair to Kemell and his entire production stat line, a good chunk of these goals came in the first half of the year. He absolutely lit the league on fire. He was one of the top scorers in the entire league for a good chunk of the season before fizzling out. We also saw his goal-scoring ability take place at different versions of the Finnish U18 squad. He had himself 12 total goals in 12 total international U18 games, which is definitely a very good sign to see. Kemell has some very good shooting abilities, and he's got a knack for finding open space on the ice, which allows him to get those scoring opportunities. He's a guy that plays with a lot of skill and jump, and you take a look at a lot of the things that he was able to do earlier on in the year, it really projected him to a spot where I mean, this is where that third overall ranking comes from. It's because scouts like TSN and Bob McKenzie and Craig Button and all of them are looking at his previous body of work and saying, yeah, this guy was just an absolute goal-scoring snipe show in the Finnish Liga. He's a guy that I think if he really pans out to the top of his ability at the NHL, he could be a 30-35 goal guy, which is kind of good considering the Red Wings did not get that out of Filip Zadina so far at least. But when it comes to the differentiation between these two, I do feel like Kemell is a lot more of a cerebral scorer. His shot is a little heavier than Zadina's was, a little less fine-tuned in comparison to where he can accurately place the puck, and a lot more straightforward. Kemell's a guy that I definitely do think has a top 6 ceiling in the NHL, and him being a consolidated ranking number 7 makes me think that he could be a good Red Wing. You go over onto our second name here. Matthew Savoie is also 5'9". He is also a right-handed player. He's 179 pounds playing out of the WHL, and he put up 90 points in 65 games this season for the Winnipeg Ice. Savoie is a really skilled, finesse, and just absolutely play-driving center that I really do feel like has so much to prove at the NHL level that it's going to be crazy to see where his entire trajectory goes. He's got a consolidated ranking of 6th overall, his highest ranking on Elite Prospects being listed at number 4 by Bob McKenzie, but he is ranked as low as number 19 by Craig Button, for example. Other scouts have him in the top 10, so if he is available at number 8 where the Red Wings are, I definitely do think this could be a guy that quote-unquote slips to Steve Yzerman and his grasps, but Matthew Savoie was a potentially elite player that was given a label like that ever since the guy was like 15 years old, mostly due to his puck skills, his offensive creativity, his IQ, and his absolute pizzazz when dancing around the offensive zone. People will be quick to point out that he does have issues with his evasion when it comes to maintaining the puck along the boards and in tight areas. As he gets older and as he hopefully gets bigger, he will hopefully start to round these out in order to transcend into becoming a full-time puck possession forward in the offensive zone that knows how to put up points. I feel like Matthew Savoie at his absolute peak at the NHL could max out as a 20-25 goal, 40-45 assist guy. And if you're talking about an 8th overall pick, that certainly is not a bad one. And who knows, I mean, with the offensive creativity and IQ that Matthew Savoie possesses, plus those puck skills and the crazy agility he has, he could be as good as, let's say, an 80, maybe even a 90-point player, if everything goes right. The everything goes right scenario is not one that I think is likely, but it is a possibility, which makes me very intrigued as to seeing where his career is going to go into the long-term future. And then you have Jonathan Lekkerimaki, a guy whose consolidated ranking is 10th overall. His highest rank over here is 8th by ISS Hockey, with his lowest ranking being 19th overall by the Puck Authority. Now, Lekkerimaki is a guy that could go somewhere in the top 10 primarily due to his goal-scoring ability alone. In the SHL, he had 7 goals and 2 assists in 26 games played, but if you take a look at what he did for the junior team in Djurgården, he had 20 goals in 26 games in total. At the U18s this season, he also had just under a goal a game while also producing 10 assists in the 6-game sample he had, so he absolutely lit up the competition, leading Sweden to the gold medal. But for Jonathan Lekkerimaki, this is a guy that has an absolutely deadly wrist shot. It's heavy, it's precise, it's quick. It's really one of those shots that you will get hurt by if you stand in front of it, because Lekkerimaki's overall ability to just snipe it, it really reminds me of Alexander Holtz, but with a little bit more power. He is probably, arguably, the best pure shooter of this entire draft, and he's a little bit bigger than both Savoie and Kemell as well. He's 5'11", 172 as, again, a right-handed shot, so all these guys here are right-handed. Kind of funny how that works out. But for Lekkerimaki also being a Swedish guy, it definitely does intrigue me to the idea of him playing alongside of Lucas Raymond long-term, the idea of Raymond being the transition playmaker that just does everything right, setting up absolutely bomb one-timers from Lekkerimaki. It sounds like a pretty good combination to me, especially when you add on Jonathan Berggren, you add on Simon Edvinsson, you can have a pretty good Swedish unit here for the Red Wings in the long-term future. Lekkerimaki to me is a guy that if he pans out to the absolute max of his goal-scoring ability, he could be a consistent 35-plus goal guy at the NHL, maybe even reaching 40 or 45 goals once in a while too. He's got a good playmaking edge, as exhibited by his display of talent at the World Under-18s, so I definitely think he's got that element that could translate to the NHL as well. But when it comes to the Red Wings, any one of these 3 guys, Kemell, Savoie, or Lekkerimaki, I feel like would be valuable pickups at that spot. So anytime somebody asks me on stream now, hey Lego, who should the Red Wings draft at 8? I'm going to refer to this video because I feel like this is probably the best way to get that message across in the most consistent and vibrant way possible. Red Wings fans, let me know in the comments your thoughts about these three players. Do you like the idea of any of these forwards heading over to Detroit at the 8th overall spot? Am I crazy for thinking about Kemell, Savoie, and Lekkerimaki like this? Let me know in the comments why or why not. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.